of a child you can help, a child like Valeria. You didn't say no by changing the channel. You didn't say no by leaving the room. Will you now say no to a child who needs you? Look into these eyes and do what you would do if you were face to face. Tell them that 80 cents a day is not too much.
The morning's biggest events and freshest new ideas can all be found right here. Just listen to this. All the innovation in morning television is at GMA. Start your day good to go with America's fastest growing morning show, Good Morning America.
Chief David Myers is the Chief of Law Enforcement for Florida's Alcoholic Beverages and Tobacco Bureau. And you spent spring break in Panama City last spring.
Yes, we sure did.
You brought back some souvenirs.
We brought back a few.
What time period does this haul in front of us represent?
This is approximately 3 weeks of spring break just in Panama City Beach. We run multiple spring break operations in different cities, and this is one of the cities.
But how many are here?
There's approximately 5,600 driver's licenses here.
Wow. What happened to these people once they surrendered their fake IDs?
A large percentage of them were criminally charged for the possession of the false IDs. Some of them were taken in situations that they weren't charged.
What's the big deal with fake IDs? They had fake IDs when I was growing up. Unfortunately, I looked 11 years old, and I couldn't pass for my sister, but everybody else in the sorority did.
Right. Well, the department's big issue is the number of young people that are being killed in alcohol-related incidents. It also goes beyond that to identity theft and also terrorism.
Yeah, it's kind of blowing things up pretty considerably to tack terrorism onto this. But I think the point the Chief would like to make is that if it's easy for your children to get fake IDs that are pretty good, who else can?
Right. We found that several of the people involved in terrorism were getting the licenses from the same locations that the kids were getting them from.
Where are those locations?
Usually they're around college campuses. It ranges from everything from a college campus person doing it. And the more popular thing now is the internet, because you can order that ID in the privacy of your own home.
I picked up just a kind of a random handful, and I'm not going to read any names, but I might be looking at your children's pictures. They all look like they're pretty high quality. There's only one of them that looks kind of flagrantly, pasted together. But the others, I guess a trained eye could see that they weren't real, or could a trained eye?
The quality of the counterfeits have just become unbelievable, to the point that we actually have a laboratory that we study these documents. They're spending up to $1,000 for these IDs, and knowing that law enforcement receives training in detection of these IDs, they continue to go better and better and better every year.
How did you know this was counterfeit? Because you did take it from the bearer.
Right. In most incidents, what we'll do is we'll look at the security features. There's hidden security features in driver's licenses and ID cards that are not necessarily public information. So we look for that security. We look for the printing styles. Our agents are specifically trained to detect these counterfeits. We also use technology in a lot of cases to try to determine what's counterfeit.
But you don't have the kind of law enforcement abilities to get this kind of a sweep more than just those 3 weeks a year when Panama City, is the place to go.
Right. Well, during the year, we constantly are visiting businesses and nightclubs and continuously checking for underage drinking issues and related.
You said that some of them are charged criminally. What does that go on your record?
In most cases, it does.
So if you're applying for college and the college application, and they do, say, have you been charged with a crime? You have to check the box that says
yes.
Yes. Didn't think of that, did ya? A lot of people don't. And in some cases, it's a felony. Rebecca, you got busted on your 20th birthday.
Yes,
Am I right? And thank you for being here to tell us about it.
Sure.
What happened?
It was my 20th birthday, and my girlfriends wanted to celebrate with me, so we began drinking at my apartment.
You had the fake ID.
Had the fake ID for about 9 months. I bought it in Philadelphia. Then I decided, let's go to a club. We went to a club, saw police officers outside, but thought that, my friend had a fake ID as well. It was a woman it was a real ID, but the woman was 30 years old in the picture. And I thought that, there's no way that she could pass for her. Well, she handed the ID to the bouncer, and he let her in. So I thought, well, my ID has got to work. Even though there was a police officer standing right next to her, to the gentleman, I handed my ID over. He said, "This is fake." And I said, "Okay." And so I walked away. The police officer decided to follow me and said, "This is fake." And I said, "Yes, I do." So they brought me over to the alcohol, beverage, and tobacco, who was around the back, and they asked me if it was fake. I said yes, and they decided to arrest me with a felony charge. I ended up being cooperative with them, so they knocked it down to a misdemeanor. I had a court date, was going to have to show up.
How scared were you?
I was pretty scared. I didn't think that this was going to happen to me, of all people, because I was a good kid. I mean,
Were you pretty scared to call your mom?
Oh, I was terrified. I mean, my mother is worse than any judge. I mean, truly is. And I know how disappointed, it was, I could face the penalty, of whatever the court may give me, but my mother's disappointment would be a lot worse.
Your mother has reason to be proud of her daughter, and probably to think that she has as good a relationship with her daughter as I think I do with mine, and she thinks she does with hers, and so on and so forth. Would you explain to us how our really, really good children who love us and respect us and don't want to let us down still think that there's a parallel universe where everybody does it and it's okay?
It's just something that, my mother lectured me before I went to college about, the do's and the don'ts and things like that. And, drinking was a big don't. And I have a pretty open relationship, and I did tell her that I did drink, but I kind of curbed how much how much I told her I was drinking. And the fake ID, she didn't know about, and I didn't want to tell her. And she found out the hard way, unfortunately, because I had to eventually call her. The police wanted to call her, and I told them that I had no family. And that was, my mother called the next day and said, "How could you told them you have no mother?" And I said, "Yes." And that, that got me in a little bit of trouble.
You're not much of a drinker anymore, I understand.
No, I mean, I'm legally able to drink, but I choose not to, because for a year I abstained from drinking because that charge could have came back as a felony. And that was something I recognized and I was always kind of scared about. So I decided to, drinking, relax, but that's about it.
There is, however, a reason parents should worry about any underage drinking. We'll talk about that next.
Is your life disrupted by 2 or more migraines a month? There may be hope for reducing that number, and it begins by calling this number. Get information that explains the difference. The difference between treating migraine symptoms and helping to prevent migraines. Treating means taking medicine after it starts and waiting for relief. Preventing means taking a daily prescription medicine to help reduce the number of migraines you get. Talk to your doctor and learn more. Get a free migraine prevention kit by calling 1-877-99-MIGRAINE or visiting 4migraineprevention.com. Find out about prescription medicines and how you may get fewer migraines. Take control by tracking your migraine patterns and learning what to ask your doctor. As with any medication, there is a risk of side effects, so ask your doctor if daily migraine prevention is right for you. Call 1-877-99-MIGRAINE and find out how you can have more days without migraines.
Who is he, and why are you still here?
I see you met Johnson's new intern.
Wait a minute, Johnson gets an intern?
Introducing Kellogg's Toasted Honey Crunch. So crunchy, so honey, so clustery, so good.
That's great. Why don't we just give him my corner office?
It's a great idea. They could use the space.
I'm sending you a death ray. No, it's a death ray. Forget
New
it.
Kellogg's Toasted Honey Crunch. Sounds good.
Need a new car loan? For immediate pre-approval, call New Credit now. 1-800-NEW-CREDIT. That's 1-800-639-2733. You cannot be refused.
1-800-NEW-CREDIT is the number for automotive credit. Choose from all makes and models, plus pre-approval for your loan right over the phone.
1-800-NEW-CREDIT is for students, for divorcees, victims of circumstance, even for people who chose the alternative of bankruptcy. You cannot be refused.
1-800-NEW-CREDIT is the number for automotive credit. You talk to our automated computer. No salespeople, no paperwork, no one to turn you down.
Get your loan over the phone. Call New Credit now. That's 1-800-NEW-CREDIT. That's 1-800-639-2733.
Call 1-800-NEW-CREDIT. Anytime, day or night, 7 days a week. It's private and confidential.
Call New Credit now. 1-800-NEW-CREDIT. That's 1-800-639-2733. You cannot be refused.
Bye. Introducing the biggest thing to hit Hot Pockets brand. We sprinkled cheese on the crust and baked it in for a crispier, cheesier taste. New crispier, cheesier Hot Pockets.
If you've seen this before, you remember it. If you haven't seen it before, you must. This is an experiment on a PBS series called The Secret Life of the Brain. It shows some surprising and disturbing results.
We've got some alcohol in here, and our job now is to help you to consume this beverage in about a 10-minute period.
Mark Shuckett is trying to understand what makes some teenagers more vulnerable to alcohol than others.
Oh, yeah, sure. Super. That's great.
For volunteers like 18-year-old Justin and 21-year-old Elika, Shuckett collapses one night of drinking into 10 minutes and then records the way their brains respond.
We gave them equivalent amounts of alcohol per kilogram. The result of that was that their blood alcohol levels were virtually identical. What the brain waves show us is that Elika is responding more to the alcohol than Justin. Her brain waves are being impacted by the alcohol significantly more than Justin's brain waves are being affected. So on a 0 to 36 scale, how high do you feel?
36.
What do you think about the slurredness of your speech? Is your speech slurred?
I don't think so, but it probably is. It's probably like 20.
Okay. And regarding how drunk or intoxicated you feel overall?
36.
And on a 0 to 36 scale, how high, using that term generically, feeling high or intoxicated are you?
Nothing. I don't feel anything really, like maybe a 1.
And how about how clumsy you feel you might be?
Nah, 0.
And problems where you feel like you're floating?
0.
Got it. Justin had the same blood alcohol level, and when we asked him how he felt, he was basically saying, I don't feel much. It was almost close to 0, very low on the scale. And all you had to do was look at him and you knew that he was feeling less.
0.
Justin gets drunk. It just takes Justin a lot more alcohol to get drunk than Elika.
Even though Justin's brain responds more slowly to alcohol, he is more likely than Elika to become an alcoholic. Because he is less aware of alcohol's powerful effect, he may keep drinking when Elika might stop, exposing his brain to ever higher levels of alcohol and increasing the chance that he will become addicted.
Surprising, huh? Jeff Jay is an addiction specialist and author of the book Love First, Intervention for Alcoholism and Drug Addiction. Can we visit those implications a little bit? Because I think when a kid can drink a lot and not appear to be drunk or feel drunk, that's kind of a macho, boy or girl, kind of a macho feeling. And they feel invulnerable and...
Certainly, and you're going to drink more. And one of the early signs of alcoholism coming on is that you build a tolerance so that the more you drink, you really don't feel like you're that intoxicated. Now, I'd have to challenge, as Mark Shuckett did, whether that guy really was intoxicated or not. Clearly, he was very drunk. There's one statistic in there that is really crumbling before our eyes, though, and that is the idea that boys will become more alcoholic than girls. That is falling away before our eyes statistically. It's something that's changing over the years right now, and this is very new science.
You're saying that it's even Stephanie now? Or?
They are coming very much neck and neck, not quite. If you look back 50 years, it was about 10 to 1 alcoholism with men and women. Now it's about 2 to 1. It depends on what age level you look at. The very latest statistics show, for example, that among high school kids, girls are actually drinking more frequently and drinking more alcohol than the boys.
That's what Dr. Senko said. It's starting at between 12 and 14.
That's right.
They're drinking more.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, that feeling that you can drink more, than you don't get the signal to stop that the girl did, means that by volume, you're still processing an enormous amount of alcohol, and they have not suspended the limits of physical tolerance. The body is suddenly, in the early 21st century, hasn't become able to tolerate volumes of alcohol unprecedented in human history.
Oh, that's right. The amounts of alcohol that kids are drinking are just off the charts, really. If you go on spring break, it tends to be about 18 drinks a day for the boys and 10 for the girls.
What? Yes. Say that again.
On spring break, normally the boys are drinking about 18 drinks a day and the girls are drinking about 10. And that's just an average. That's not the high end. That's the average.
Yeah, they're not actually going for the sun so much because they sleep during the day, Mom, Dad.
That's right.
You have other statistics that I think would frighten parents who are very invested in their children's academic performance, the SAT test. We know, if anything, we're over-interested. A lot of alcohol starting early can cause brain damage, permanent.
It did with me. I'm really a poster child for teenage alcoholism and over-drinking, and I still have significant memory and attention problems to this day that have really hurt me in my adult life. I've found ways to get around it, obviously, but it's been very difficult for me.
What symptoms?
I have terrible short-term memory problems and also attention problems, and I have to use little tricks and crutches to get around that. What happens is that what we found out now is that the brain is really continuing to develop until age 21. And during those very formative years, you can do great damage by adding large amounts of alcohol, even not so large amounts of alcohol.
Developing until age 21, that's virtually through college.
Yes.
So it's not just a matter of the high school age.
That's correct, and it's really one of the areas of the brain, most important areas, that continues to develop is our frontal cortex, right up here behind your forehead, and that's where a lot of the judgment and reasoning comes in, which, by the way, is the reason that normal teenagers who don't have any problem at all sometimes do really dumb things. It's just because that frontal cortex isn't completely developed yet, and so they'll have problems. But if you are adding large amounts of alcohol, you're going to stunt that process.
Binge drinking, if you haven't gotten this message already, doesn't start in college. How about high school? Next.
I guess I never expected this to happen like it did, because even though I had seen binge drinking, I just never have seen it affect a teenager like it did with Rachel.
You know, there are still some people who don't know that the cost of their diabetes testing supplies may be covered by Medicare. Well, if you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, your testing supplies may be covered. Your monitors, your test strips, your Lancets, whether you use insulin or not. So to find out if you qualify, call Liberty Medical. Here's how it works. Liberty is a Medicare participating provider. They bill Medicare and your insurance company. You pay nothing up front. Your testing supplies are delivered right to your door and no charge for shipping. You have nothing to worry about because when it's time to reorder, Liberty will remind you. Call Liberty Medical. They can help you live a better life.
To find out if you qualify for home delivery of diabetes testing supplies, call Liberty at 1-800-513-4008. That's 1-800-513-4008.
Right now, buying a used car is as easy as
1, 2, 3.
It's Bob Lampier's Beaverton Honda used car sell-off.
1.
95 Nissan Altima GXE, just $39.90.
2.
98 Ford Explorer XLT, only $89.90.
3.
97 Toyota 4Runner SR5, just $12,990.
Plus
hundreds more to choose from. And each car comes with Bob's famous 7-day right of exchange and 6-month, 6,000-mile warranty. Just buy Bob and save. Hurry to Beaverton Honda used cars.
K2 invites you to the 2005 Oregon International Air Show, Hillsboro, presented by Standard TV and Appliance.
Excitement takes flight September 9th through the 11th at the Hillsboro Airport. Friday night, kick off the weekend with American Idol Josh Grayson live in concert. Then Saturday and Sunday, feel the thrill as the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds take to the skies.
Buy your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com or go to KATU.com for details.
See you there.
We've decided to put an emphasis on local because that really seems to be what people want to see most of the time. So many things happen in the community that affect them. Their kids' school, the sewer project down the street. These things are so important to people on a daily basis that we felt it was important to kind of ramp up our coverage of local news, and that's what we've done.
Emmy Award-winning anchor Steve Dunn, weeknights at 5, 6:30, and 11 on K2 News. The difference is local.
We just talked about the impact of alcohol on a developing brain. When 16-year-old Rachel Barrett tried alcohol for the first time, the consequences were life-threatening.
Rachel, I saw her as a very unimpressionable type person.
She was very obedient and just a very sweet girl. Rachel had been left home alone on a couple of occasions and always worked out very well. We had set up where we would send people by the house to check on her, and this time we were just making phone calls.
Around 6 o'clock, I started making fairly regular phone calls home, just checking on her.
And at one point, Rachel stopped answering the phone. That's very out of character for her, and that's when he became very concerned.
Finally, after I couldn't get a hold of her, I called my friend at the police department and asked him to drop by and make sure everything was okay. He said that there was a girl, she's naked, laying on the floor, vomit everywhere, the house is trashed, and he tells me that Rachel is passed out in her room. She has her head in a trash can, unresponsive. He said that she will need to be taken to the hospital.
Her hair seemed so dark and her face seemed so pale when we first saw her.
One of the first things I noticed is that she's on a respirator. It's like...
She had a tube going up her nose and another one in her mouth.
And I'm sitting there thinking, you know, this isn't good. She's very unresponsive. She's in a, basically, an alcohol-induced coma.
Debbie and Jonathan. Jonathan, you're a police officer in your regular life, and I think you've actually taken kids to the hospital before in that condition, but maybe you'd never seen anybody look as bad as your daughter did?
No, I've never seen a situation where alcohol binge drinking has hospitalized a person and put them in an alcohol-induced coma. I've always, when we take them to the hospital, call their parents meet them at the hospital. Within an hour or so, they're discharged. And so I have never seen in a situation where a person is just totally unresponsive.
Two of you are so lucky. You're sitting here with your daughter today, and Rachel is a beautiful daughter. Why are you here? Why do you bring your story to tell us? You don't have to.
I think this Rachel really wanted, and me personally, I kind of wanted to hide this. I was a little bit embarrassed. Being on the police department, I was also kind of embarrassed for my own police department because I'm, you know, here I am, a police officer, and my daughter has fallen into the trap of a lot of other teenagers that happens to fall into. And Rachel, she said, you know, this is something that needs to be told. And I think that's something that she can answer more than I could. Why?
Well, let's go, Rachel. You don't remember quite as much about that night as your parents would probably like to forget. They left you at home and they trusted you, and you decided to have some people over.
Yeah, it turned into one of those parents are out of town and everybody, I told a couple people, I said, you know, my parents are going to be out of town. Do you want to come over, hang out? And someone mentioned, yeah, I'll come over and I'll bring some alcohol. And I said, okay, I've never experienced this before, so why not? And it ended up being something I regret.
Do you know how much you drank?
By what people are telling me, it's probably half a gallon of vodka. And I was chasing vodka with vodka pretty much.
What did you think when you found out how much damage your little party had caused, not to mention nearly losing your life?
I had no idea that it could have led to what it did because it just seemed like harmless fun and that, you know, after everybody was done, they would leave and we'd go on with our lives and nothing would ever change.
You were so naive on so many levels. What's your punishment been?
There's been punishment from my parents and actually legal punishment. I had to actually take youthful drunk driving classes, and I got charged with minor possession and was on 3 months probation. And I had to go to classes about people who have gotten into car accidents from drunk drivers and that were permanently paralyzed for the rest of their lives.
Was it something about those classes that made you want to be here?
I think a lot of it was when I found out what had happened to me, and we had heard about a lot of it on the news about college students who actually had died from binge drinking. And when we went to the news, it just kind of made it more aware that people need to know about it.
You're a very good girl. But who's paying for that damage?
It's me. I'm paying in so many ways, you know, with my parents and with just everything is really, it fell apart to begin with, but now it's coming back.
Jonathan, as I said, you're a police officer at the moment. You're on, you've been activated as a Marine Corps reservist, and I'm thinking, honey, your dad's a Marine, and still, there you are. It's just parents have to know that it's the good parents and the good kids that we have to pay attention to. They matter so much. Next, high school students are engaging in a new rite of passage, spring break, and now Senior Week. We'll be back.
I think that teen drinking is a problem. It's gotten out of hand.
I think drinking can be dangerous if you're alone.
I think some people don't know their limit. They put themselves in danger.
People always ask me if I'm ready for a new daily TV show.
Hi, how can I help you?
Talk about your high-priced help. I think I'm really ready. Pick up. They're going to see a different side of me. I think it's going to be interesting. We also visit people just to see what they're having for dinner.
Tell me to do something. I'll do whatever you want.
I'm ready to have fun in September.
And I can wash dishes. I can do anything.
Are you?
Martha, starting September 12th on K2, The Spirit of the Northwest.
We work hard for our money, so we want it working hard for us.
During Furniture Row's Labor Day savings event, your money will be working triple overtime, especially with these prices and no interest until 2010, plus no payments until next year. This first-time ever offer of no interest until 2010 and no payments until next year is on top of our 200% guaranteed lowest price pledge. Furniture Row Outlet. Good stuff for a great deal less. No interest until 2010 and no payments until next year's savings offer ends soon.
My name is PFC Eunice Guerra. What I like about the National Guard is I can be, gung-ho and go out there and do, really awesome things, stuff that, civilians, wouldn't understand. And then I get to go home and, put on a pair of jeans. And I wanted to be a civilian and then turn around and be a soldier.
Defend freedom. In the Army National Guard, you can. Visit 1-800-GO-GUARD.com today.
We've decided to put an emphasis on local because that really seems to be what people want to see most of the time. So many things happen in the community that affect them. Their kids' school, the sewer project down the street. These things are so important to people on a daily basis that we felt it was important to kind of ramp up our coverage of local news, and that's what we've done.
Emmy Award-winning anchor Steve Dunn, weeknights at 5, 6:30, and 11 on K2 News. The difference is local.
In the Garden with Mike Darcy, a gardening program for the seasons. Winter, spring, summer, and fall. We've reserved a front seat for those who believe in the art of gardening. In the Garden with Mike Darcy, Sunday mornings at 9 on K2. The Spirit of the Northwest, brought to you in part by Gardner and Bloom and Dr. Earth.
Spring break is a time-honored tradition, and that's the problem. In time, cultural norms are set, and before long, they are the norm. The difference today is that it's a time-honored tradition for high school kids, all underage, of course. That was Cancun, Mexico. It was some footage shot on Dateline approximately a week after my son left. Yes, that was a confession. Yeah, he was 18 years old. He survived it, I'm happy to say, and I won't be making that mistake again. When did spring break become a high school phenomenon?
It's really a new phenomenon. In fact, for college students, it really doesn't go back all that far, a generation at the most. I mean, you could go back 2 generations and find some with college, but with high school students, it's really only in the last 10 or 15 years. And it's really a bad idea.
Why?
Because, as we talked about before, the frontal cortex isn't really developed. They're going to make bad decisions. You can count on it. They are very poorly chaperoned. There's going to be a lot of booze, a lot of unprotected sex. You name it, it's going to be happening.
I have to tell you that there is parental peer pressure, too. And when the kids say everybody's going, and a lot of everybody's are going, the pressure on a parent to say yes, the pressure on a parent to go along with all the other parents is enormous.
It is enormous. And the problem is, if the parents can't say no, how are the kids going to say no? That's the real bottom line. This is where parents have to be that very strong role model. It's difficult. Even though I got into a lot of trouble, I remember a time when my father absolutely wouldn't let me go to this all-day, all-night concert because I was only 13 years old and I wanted to go. And it was very hard for him because several of my friends were going and one of their fathers was going to take us, and he said no. And it made him very unpopular with the parents and made me mad as anything. I can't tell you how much I respect it today.
There are really good parents who make some responsible sounding arguments about allowing a child the freedom to behave like an adult in a situation like that. Trusting, you know, making a commitment that says, I trust you, have a good time.
Yeah, that's a really loaded kind of idea there. I mean, would you say to your 17-year-old daughter, for example, if she were going out on a date on Friday night, well, we'll see you Sunday, or we'll see you Monday? I don't think so. I think you'd want to know where she was and what she was doing and so on and so forth. So why is it then a good idea to say, well, we trust you at 17, go to Cancun, we'll see you in a week, and good luck.
Senior week. High school seniors feel as an entitlement now that when they graduate, they go for a week with other teenagers somewhere to contemplate all that they have learned.
If only that were the case.
Yeah.
In fact, it's really just a dumb idea. I'm sorry. The brain at 17, 18 years old is not really developed enough to go and do that kind of thing. You know, we live in a dangerous world, and we've lived in a dangerous world for 10,000 years. Once it was lions and tigers and bears that we had to protect our kids from. Today, it's other things. And in this way, parents have to kind of be surrogate frontal lobes for their kids. They have to kind of make some of those decisions for them in order to keep them safe in a world that isn't really safe.
You and I are going to talk about just a few more myths about this when we come back.